right, what is poppin' party pundits? We're in for another episode of Pop Talk. This is episode 46. This is your man, Professor Nims, introducing y'all on behalf of my man, Boston Jared.
Peace.
The Casual Rand.
Peace.
And Coach Dave.
And group.
Tonight, party pundits, we got a little special, pre-Thanksgiving gift for y'all. We want to introduce this is our second ever guest that we've had on the Pop Talk series. This is a man who is world renowned in the world of boxing, former NABO, NABA, WBO Intercontinental Middleweight Champion, and a two-time world title challenger. We want to give it up for a man who amassed a record of 24 wins against only 3 losses. My man, Willie Mongoose Monroe Jr.
Yeah.
We appreciate having you with us tonight. This is really an honor for the pundits. So we're gonna jump right into. We know that your time is valuable, especially around the holidays. Everybody's visiting family. So I'm gonna let my man Boston Jared. He's gonna pop it off with our first question of the night.
So, Will, thanks for being with us. So let's start off with what have you been up to since 2019, man? June of 2019, the last time we saw you in the ring was against Hugo Centeno Jr. You had a 10-round unanimous decision, and we haven't seen you since, man. What have you been up to? Are you still an active fighter? Are you retired? BoxRec has you as inactive, for whatever that's worth. But what have you been up to?
Well, yeah, I guess I have been inactive, but I took some time to really step into some other parts of life to make sure my exit strategy from boxing is solidified. And I grabbed a few professional financial licenses, and I've helped a few fighters, get their investments and their financials together, because boxing is one of those sports where you could be on top making money today and nobody knows about you tomorrow. So I had educated myself. Me and my wife, we both went and got a license for a life and annuities, and then she just shot up the branch. She went and got her Series 6, her 26, her 63, and now she's an advisor. So she has the same license that Al Heyman has. I'm working my way up the other side of the branch on state and mortgage. But yeah, that's what I've been doing to really get out there, jump into that world and educate myself. Because number one, you need an exit strategy, and that was my exit strategy as far like real estate. But now I'm officially in the business, and fighters with being a little bit more of their finance, where to put their money while they're making. Because we all know that old story of fighters in there.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that another Philadelphia fighter, and you did fight out of Philly, correct?
No, I'm out of upstate
New York. Yeah, he's from
out of Rochester. Okay, all right.
Rochester.
I was gonna say okay. I was gonna mention the fact that J-Rock is another guy who I believe has followed that kind of same outside of boxing, pursuing the outside the ring endeavors, getting into real estate, getting into annuities and stuff like that. I wasn't sure if you and him were cool, or if he influenced you to pursue that line of work outside of the ring or not.
I mean, I can't say that I can't even say I've ever spoke to him, but I know who he is.
Okay.
Yeah, like-minded people think alike. I mean, I think that's great that he's doing it. I think other fighters should probably key in, because we have when we have these big fights, we have power by making that type of money, and we will need to put it somewhere to make sure it doesn't dissipate.
That's a great point. So I also want to just kind of go back to Boston Jared's questions and stuff, because like you said, you haven't been in the ring since 2019, but you were on a good winning streak, get some good challengers. But do you want to have Pop Talk be the platform where you officially announce your retirement, or is this something that is still that you're still contemplating at this moment?
Retirement isn't in my mind, because you have to look at the fact that I've only had 27 professional fights over this long time. So I've had a few layoffs, which has allowed me to preserve myself.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to fighting. I want at least, hopefully, another few more years of this, but we'll see what comes. But as of now, I'm not looking forward for it.
Very good.
So,
Very good.
so Will, real quick, dovetailing off of that, who are you aligned with promotionally, man? Looking over your box right, man, you've had the opportunity to fight the full spectrum of guys. I've seen you. You've been in there with PBC guys. You fought, I believe, Frank Warren guys. I believe Billy Joe Saunders was aligned with Queensberry at the time when you fought him. You've fought Golovkin. Who are you aligned with promotionally right now, if anybody?
Moment, no one. I'm fully clean across the board. I just wanted to give myself that independence. That's how I ran my whole career from the beginning. I was never really had that big guy or that big promotional arm. But I funded my own career by working jobs and just going and fighting guys that I wasn't supposed to beat and building my record that way rather than doing it the conventional way because I just wanted to keep control of what I was doing. I wanted to be able to. The boxing business is ran a lot like the music. You know what I mean? I wanted to more or less keep my independence. When I want to say I'm gonna walk away from this, I'll walk away from it. If I say I want to keep going, but as of right now, I'm clear across the board. No promotional contract, no contract. I'm just surveying the landscape.
So, can you talk a little bit about what it's like being a promotional free agent? And we'll transition from that into some of the more current events in boxing right now. Specifically, a guy like Terrence Crawford, who recently became a promotional free agent. A guy who I'm familiar with, Demetrius Andrade, another promotional free agent. Both guys who, especially with Demetrius, who's had a tough time getting fights now that they're promotional free agents. Can you talk about what that's like? Is it easier being a promotional free agent? Is it harder? What is that like?
It depends on how you handle your business. For me, it's easier because I'm just, like I said, I'll come back when I want. You know what I mean? I live in shape. Also, I have a personal trainer's license, so I have a few clients that I train. So that keeps me in shape. I train with my clients. And it all depends on how you play your cards. What do you have going on like outside of the ring? If boxing is your main bread and butter, being a free agent and not being able to be in there with a promoter that makes someone fight you, it could be tough because you don't ever someone like Boo Boo he needs leverage because he's such a good fighter. He's undefeated. He's very powers. He's great in every area, but these guys can easily duck him. So it's hard to get, for him to be a little tougher. But for someone like me, I only have 6 knockouts, so they'll say, "Oh, he doesn't have power." We'll see when we get in the ring. But I have a little selling point where they'll actually maybe, split at him and say, "Okay, I might take this." But for someone like Brady with his record and how great he is, it's kind of disheartening to see him not fight against the guys like CHARLO, and he has to go up to another way to get these big fights because he was at 54, couldn't get big fights. When he was supposed to be, couldn't get the big fights. Then now he's, he has to go up to 168. He's not more of a natural 54, 60. So why should they have to go up to 168? I wish someone would actually get in there and like really push him to get a fight because he's a phenomenal fighter.
Yeah. Will, do you have your thumb covering the mic? You keep cutting out.
Okay, I could be. I'm trying to make sure. I'm in the bathroom.
Yeah,
My
the
sister.
frame.
So
No worries.
So what? Yeah, so Will, what is that like? Let's say Will, man. This will be my last question. I know the pundits want to jump in. My last question will be, what is it? So you, Will Monroe, you want to get a fight. CHARLO been sitting around for about 2 years now. You've been off for a long time. Let's say you and CHARLO want to finish unfinished business. You want to get in the ring with CHARLO. Does Will Monroe pick up the phone and call Al Heyman? Or do you call Sam Watson? How does that work?
I don't know because I don't think CHARLO wants to fight me. I think CHARLO, like somebody like me or Demetrius Andrade, I don't think he's not very good with southpaws. He's not very good with lefties, especially tricky lefties, and he'll look bad at best. So I really can't say that he would want to fight me, but if he did want to fight me, that's something I would jump to immediately. The business would have to be right. I mean, you guys see what's going on with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. You guys see that, the business side of it. Al is going to make sure his guy is in a super win position. And, I'm not one of Al's guys at the moment, you know what I mean? So the business would definitely have to be right, but that's not a fight I would shy away from. It's definitely a fight I would jump to immediately.
So you just call Al Heyman? Is that how that works?
I don't have Al Heyman's number, but if one of you guys got it, call him.
Definitely not. Definitely
But we're gonna put that out as the headliner. Willie Monroe calls out CHARLO, so we'll go ahead and get that on the radar. Go ahead, the casual Red.
Hey, so you mentioned your background as a personal trainer. You doing that a little bit at work to stay in shape and everything. I was just looking at the amazement that you stayed at the middleweight division like your whole career, 10 plus years. When you see other fighters are like moving up or saying that their body's getting too big to stay in the weight class, what was your motivation just to stay at middleweight and keep contending at 160?
I live in the gym. I just love being in the gym. I'm a gym rat. Actually, I'm a gym cat. We eat the gym rat. Love being in the gym. That's a place where I can just go and free my mind and truly be myself, get the music going. And sometimes I don't even train with music. That's my time to truly be with God when I'm in the gym. So if I can go into the gym and find a quiet moment like out here where I'm at with my sister, she has a phenomenal gym out here where she lives, and I don't even use music. I just go in there late night and get my nice little workout in by myself and just spend that time with God. That's truly a time for me to be alone and recalibrate and digress from all of the information I've taken in from the day. Being in shape is just something I love to do. If I wasn't a fighter, I'd still be in shape.
What is your walking around weight?
My walking around weight right now about 178, 180.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gotten a little bigger.
Yeah, I saw that on BoxRec, it had you listed as a super middle, and like you've never fought above the middleweight division. Like, do you know why they would have you listed as that?
Well, a couple times I fought I didn't come in at 161, but the guys wanted the contract at 160 plus one or 160 plus two. I always come in at a sharp 159, 158 and some change, but I'm just like, whatever we got to do to get the fight going. I guess because I fought opponents above 160. The contract was at 162, so it put me in the super middleweight division, but definitely a middleweight.
Yeah, and officially the two fights before Citano were above 100, but your last fight was at middleweight officially. All right, Coach Day, I think you had a question for him.
Man, yeah, hey, Square. So look, man, I want to just pull on your knowledge a little bit, man, and just ask, like, looking back in the old days, man. I mean, when guys was fighting just because they loved to fight. I mean, you had Hagler and Hearns happen. You had Leonard and all those guys. I would like to get your take, man, as a fighter. Why do you think it's simply so hard, man, to make the big fights nowadays, man? You kind of touched on a little bit about being independent, but any other meat you want to put onto that, man? Because everybody got their excuses about why it doesn't happen. But man, I just like to hear from you, somebody very, very relevant in the game, brother.
Well, like I said before, boxing is ran like the music industry. So, the fighters don't have as much control as people would think. These fighters aren't scared of each other. Like, some fighters may be like, I don't want to fight that guy. Or if you've been in camp with a guy and spar with a certain guy, or word has gotten around how good you've done in camp with another guy, they may be like, that may not be a fight I want to take. But 9 times out of 10, fighters aren't scared of each other. It's the promotion. It's the promotional arms and the advisors and the managers behind them, because boxing is like the wild, wild west. If you look at football, basketball, baseball, it's one league. If you look at even the UFC, that's one company up under Dana White. It isn't a bunch of different promoters. Dana White is the sole promoter. In boxing, so many different promoters that are connected to so many different networks, and they feel that if my guy loses, I'm going to lose power with the network, which means I'm going to lose money. So I want to make sure I put my guy in the right position to make sure he wins. And then you're dealing with another promoter that's like, no, I want to make sure my fighter's in the right position to make sure he wins. So it becomes a battle, a dual battle of the people who are running the sport rather than the fighters. And then it's looked as if the fighters are the ones who don't want to fight each other, when in all reality the fighters will fight each other any day. Like if you look at somebody like myself, or you look at, and not to put myself in these guys category, but I grew up, me and Terrence Crawford both lost in the same Olympic qualifying tournament. We came, all of these guys, Terrence Crawford, you look at Errol Spence, you look at Demetrius Andrade, you look at all of these guys, when we came up in the amateurs, with the tournaments, that you couldn't pick and choose who you fought. You had to fight the next best guy, whoever it was, and competition was very high. So guys that come out of competition like that, we're not scared to fight anybody. It's the promotional arms that are behind us, and then the money being tagged on, the money being taken away, and they use the money to play the game. Like, all right, like I wanted to fight CHARLO early in my career at 54. I wanted to fight him, and the price that the manager I was working with at the time, the price that they gave, I'm like, I'm not about to fight that dude for that, for that bit of money. But that was their way of saying no. So they won't say, no, we don't want to fight you. They'll just offer you some BS money they know you're not going to take. And then they'll be like, well, we offered him and he didn't. It's like, come on, man, you know what you offer me. Like you offer me club money to fight. Like you got a name. Like don't offer me, 10 grand to fight you when when we know what's being made. You get what I'm saying? So they play like that. They offer, money that isn't conducive to the fight. Situations. There's so many different games that are played, man, from anything from the size of the ring to the padding of the ring, what type of gloves you get to wear. These are all little nuances that are played with to have different advantages. I just did an interview. Well, I just posted an interview from 2016 because, they were asking me about, this is back when that whole debacle about Golovkin's gloves and was his gloves smaller or whatever. And, I never said his gloves were smaller, but I retweeted a tweet from someone else who, another big name person in the boxing game who was like, his gloves looked a little small. And everybody came down on me like I was being a sore loser. I'm like, whoa, wait, I just retweeted a tweet. I didn't say this. And, I gave them I gave them a comparison. I'm like, and if you work at McDonald's and you may be like, the boss isn't giving me enough hours, he's giving him more hours than me, he doesn't like me. Like if politics exists on a level with a 9 to 5 and minimum wage, what makes you think it doesn't exist on a level where we're talking millions and billions of dollars with start? You know what I mean? You're not going to put that much money into one individual and then not make sure they have some type of advantage or somewhere. So, the political game, I tell people this all the time, like, that's why boxing has a red and a blue corner. It's politics. You know what I'm saying? It's strictly politics.
Yeah, no doubt, man. See, bro, that means a lot coming from you, bro, because I just know you and I know your integrity, brother, and how you are definitely always on the level, brother. So that means a lot, man. And I guess the last thing for me, brother, honestly, man, is just coming from a coaching angle, man. You know what I mean? So been coaching for the longest time and training myself, right, but never above learning. Bro, you one of the slickest jokers in that ring, man. So what I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, man, the depths of my soul, what I'm asking, bro, is like, what do you do to really, we got the basic footwork drills and the ladder and the stuff that we can do in the gym, right, to really, really slick and moving, man, and with the angles and that footwork that you got. But what is it, man, that you do, be it to a coach that's just working with some other fighters, like, hey, try this and that, man, to help these guys be as elusive as you are, man. I love to hear that from you, Square, really.
Absolutely. So, my background, my grandfather's Afro-Cuban. So, if you think about, Cuban fighters, everything starts from the feet up. So we dance, you check, I'm a dancer. I had an R&B group together for a few years. So we really did the whole dance thing. We danced salsa. So your hands work with your feet work with your hands. So I do a lot of things to music and try to catch the beat and, and just be creative. Everything is a creative motion. You know what I mean? It's take the basics and then be creative with it. We all know the basics, step forward, step backs, right, lateral movement. But you throw a little extra step in there and then you get your upper body working with it. You just be more elusive up top. Don't be so, some guys are like, everything, they want power, so they're tight. You know what I mean? The thing is to be loose, have fun, get it. When I'm in the ring and I shadow box. Sometimes I won't even put a timer on. I'll just shadow box a whole 30 minutes to salsa music. And I'll be doing salsa moves and everything and it'll give me creative things on how to come up with certain punches, certain angles. And once you get to moving in that direction and moving in fluently like that, it just comes natural. But it's got to be something you work on every day and just have fun.
Right. Well, man, I appreciate that, Square, man. I'm gonna pass it over. But bro, on the other side of the holidays, if you ever get a chance, bro, and I can just get to where you at and just kind of sit at y'all feet, man, and watch what y'all do, man. I love that, bro. If ever, bro.
I'll make sure you have my number, don't you? We exchange numbers.
Yeah, we switched them. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely, man.
All right, Monroe. Let me jump in real quick.
Go ahead.
Behind me, right, you see that's the famous picture of Felix Trinidad when he fought William Joppy, right? And then after that, he fought Bernard Hopkins, for the undisputed. And then that brings me back to the days when there was this kind of one champion. Then of course Jermaine Taylor was able to and it's controversy that this couple of split decisions over Bernard Hopkins. But thinking back to that, what are your thoughts on just the fractured state of the middleweight division now, and how these top guys are simply not fighting each other? And and even with that said, like, where do you kind of see yourself in there? Because looking at it, we have the IBF champion is recognized as Triple G. The WBC champion is recognized as Jamal Charlo. WBA is also Triple G. But he's a super champion, whatever that means. And then the regular champion is Rolanda Lara. So what are your thoughts on just kind of of this fractured state of the middleweight division?
I'm glad you have that picture up, because that picture is a fight from when they did a middleweight division to get there. I mean, a middleweight tournament to get down to that.
Absolutely.
I remember watching that as a kid. I had to be like maybe 12, 13 years old. I remember watching that. And I was about 14, because I remember that the fight with him and Bernard Hopkins happened right around 9/11. That was my freshman year in high school, about 13, 14 when this happened. But I think they need to do that. I think if the sanctioning bodies actually got together and just said, you know what, we're going to do something for boxing, and not be greedy with the money, and just let's split it evenly and create a one champion in each weight class by tournament. Take all of the guys that have belts, and take a few other top guys, because it's only 4 belts. So take a few guys and create a tournament. And I think you can get excitement like that. I fought the Boxino tournament. One of my favorite fighters, Andre Ward.
You actually won the Boxino. Yeah, you being humble. You actually the ESPN tournament. Yeah, so. Yeah.
And the Super 6 that happened with Andre Ward, I mean, that tournament truly showed people how great Andre Ward was. I'll give you some texture on it really quick. Andre Ward is one of my favorite fighters, and he was getting ready to fight Shelby Pudwill right before the tournament started. And a friend of mine was out in Oakland, and he called me. He was in his gym, and I told Andre Ward, I said, look, I know everybody's counting you out, but like, I think you're going to win the whole tournament. I think you're going to sweep everybody. He was real humble about it. Appreciate that, brother. You know how he talks. He's real humble. And sure enough, he won the whole tournament. So I think tournaments like that bring excitement. They bring, and you don't know what's going to happen, because you automatically think this guy's going to win because he fights this way, or this guy has this much power. He has this many knockouts. This guy is slick. And you'll get a champion out of it that nobody thought was going to be a champion because of the way it's arranged, or because of who gets beaten the first or second round. So I think a tournament like that should be set up in the middleweight division. I think they should get Demetrius, Andre, myself, Charlo. If Triple G's a little older, and I don't know if he would want to jump into a tournament like that, get Adeslande Lara, what's the other guy, the Kazakhstan guy, the WBO middleweight champion?
Janbek Alim Khanullah.
Yeah, why don't they get him and get why don't they get the 4 champions and then grab 4 guys that are just top but not champions, and create an 8-man tournament, single elimination, and then bring it all down to one belt. I mean, one guy.
I would love to see that. And you actually make stars from that. I mean, even though Andre Ward was up there, but he was able to come from that and to really put him on everybody's radar. And then that tournament that they had, that's what really made Bernard Hopkins a star from there. When he stopped Felix Trinidad, he was a star after that. And he was able to go on and fight people like Oscar De La Hoya, just really solidified his status. Go ahead, Boston.
You said what?
No, I was saying go ahead. I think you had a...
I did. Well, I wanted to jump right into some of the current events. And Willie had mentioned earlier about fighters not being afraid to fight each other and promotional entities, middlemen being really the main reason for a lot of these fights not happening. So that being said, Willie, what is your take on this whole Crawford Spence not fight? Because it is it's a bunch of talk, it's tweets. Given what you know about the business of boxing, what is Willie Monroe's take on this whole situation?
Well, I think Crawford took the independent way, which he wants with strength and power, but then he doesn't have the downside about that is he doesn't have somebody in the game with power to truly fight for what, like, he's going and talking to Al, and you got Errol Spence who's already with Al. So Al's not gonna give Crawford anything he wants. You know what I mean? Because I mean, a lot of people look at it like this: whoever wins, Al can get that guy, and that's the best. But it don't really work like that. You know, he's going to make sure that Spence is taken care of. He's going to make sure that's, and I guess rightfully so. That's loyalty, right? But I think I wouldn't say this is a mistake, but I would say maybe the thing that's stopping Crawford from having more power in this situation is the fact that he isn't with a big powerhouse to say, well, look, we got this network to do this. And I think he just signed with BLK Boxing or something like that.
There's a one fight deal. So he's not signed. BLK is just the broadcaster, the same way Showtime or ESPN. So this is a one fight deal from what I understand. So it's not like Broner. Broner signed a 3-fight deal for $15 million, whereas Crawford is doing this one shot, one kill type of deal.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think, not having a powerhouse manager or promoter behind him, but I did see him take a picture with Jay-Z. I mean, if Jay-Z is still, in the boxing game, I think Jay-Z has the power, I mean, just as not more power, in that situation as Al to be able to come in and vie for Terrence and make sure it's fair across the board. Because let's keep it real. I think it should be 50-50 split for both guys across the board. They're both undefeated. Obviously Errol has more belts, but then Crawford has really done more. He's covered 2 previous weight classes and unified a weight class before that. You got to look at Errol.
Yeah,
he was undisputed at 140. Errol has one more belt to collect before he can be undisputed, and that will be the belt that Terrence Crawford has. So they both have things to weigh where they can fight for what they want. But I personally think this could be the first fight in history where everybody just does it 50-50 and just let the fighters fight be what dictates who's the best in this. Yeah. Not this guy made sure this guy had more money and he got this much more pull. I think they should all just put their egos aside and split everything 50-50. And this will probably be the very first fight in history where everything was actually split 50-50 between 2 mega fighters, because the thing what's going on right now is their hourglass is running out of time. Yeah. What happened? Errol Spence is already saying that 147 is hard for him to make. What if he gets clipped by Keith Thurman? Then that takes all of the air out of the fight for him and Terrence Crawford. Then he really doesn't have enough. So, and I'm not saying that, what I'm saying is anything in boxing can happen.
That's right.
And not being able to make that weight anymore, if he's struggling to make that weight, that could, weigh on his body to where he's not as dominant physically as he was before. It happens in one fight.
Yeah.
So do you think that this fight not happening, Will, is this just an honest misunderstanding at the negotiating table, or is this one guy not wanting to fight or one side not wanting to fight, or is this just an honest disagreement at the negotiating table?
I personally believe it's an honest disagreement at the negotiating table, because I think both of those guys really, really want to fight each other. Like, I know both of those guys from the amateurs, and they're not scared of anyone, and I've watched both of them take out super middleweights, and sparring and be willing to fight a super middleweight if it came to it. So I don't think they're scared of each other, but I think it's the negotiations. And like I said, if they could find a way to everybody just put their egos to the side and split it 50-50 and let the let the actual fight dictate who's the best. I think that's the treat for the fans, and I think that will do something in boxing to where more fans will come back to boxing, more fighters will want to do it that way, and it'll bring some more purity back to boxing rather than having a political up on someone so I can make sure I win.
Yeah,
And
and it's turned very political, right? Everybody it seems like somebody either you're on the Terrence Crawford side of the fence or the Errol Spence, and to me, I just want them to get into the ring. I think just for the greater good of boxing.
yeah.
So we're coming up on the time, but we're gonna hit you with just a couple of quick hitters. So one is that I was gonna ask you to kind of confirm because we did hear that you had some Cuban roots, but you affirmed that through your grandfather. But could you tell us how you got your nickname, who gave it to you, and when did they still start calling you El Mongoose?
So my boy Sammy Torres gave me that name. I was in a primarily Hispanic gym in
Okay.
Rochester, New York, and my coach was Mexican at the time,
Okay.
and they were calling me because of my hand speed and my reflexes. They were calling me El Gato, the cat.
Oh, the cat, yeah.
And there was Frankie Figueroa from New York. This is when I was an amateur,
Mm-hmm.
and there was another fighter, Frankie Figueroa from the Bronx, who came down to train with us, and he was already pro. His name was already El Gato. So I was like, man, I can't take that name. That's already taken. My boy Sammy Torres, he was like, yo, you fight more like a mongoose. And I didn't even know what a mongoose was. Like, I'm like, what the hell is a mongoose? And he showed me a video of a mongoose versus a
snake.
Snake.
Yeah.
I said right there, that's me.
Yeah.
I said, say no more. That's me, because a mongoose is very, very it doesn't look like it will hurt anything. And they hunt one of the most deadly animals on this, so they look for that big competition. And a mongoose, a little known fact about a mongoose is a black mamba or any other snake, but a black mamba who's known as has the most deadly venom.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Kobe. This is nothing to Kobe Bryant. That's something totally different. But when a mamba bites, if a mamba actually gets off on a mongoose and bites him, a mongoose has mutated cells to where it will just go and sleep the venom off and then come back.
Oh,
and I truly believe that's me. Like every time something has happened in boxing, I'll get my stuff together, and the next thing you know, I'm on a winning streak. You feel what I'm saying? And that's true to the nature of a mongoose. You know what I mean? You may get me down, but never out.
Oh, that's beautiful. I appreciate that. Appreciate that insight, brother.
Oh.
Hey, I have a quick question. So, based off with the conversation you just had with Boston Jared, and it's just a little background of the three, like Cameron, Jared, and Dave, they can go back to like the 1970s and break down film, break down boxing stances and everything. Myself, I love the politics of boxing. I love outside of the ring and all the shenanigans, and I'll sit there and fuss with you all day about it. I listened to you talk, and then in the beginning, you said both you and your wife have like a financial background in finance, and then you have the boxing knowledge, the ins and out of boxing, and then I just listened to you like eloquently break down the Crawford Spence negotiation. I'm saying all this. You come in, no matter if you have 2, 3, 4 more fights in your career, you come into the twilight of your boxing career. What's the next step? It looks like you're set up for the Monroe household to be a powerhouse in boxing as either a manager or your own promotion. Have you and your wife given that any thought?
Well, the boxing game is not a game that I would put my immediate family in, just because my family is in boxing, from my uncle to my dad, a few cousins, and then myself. And I just know that the politics of boxing can come in between family members. But what I am willing to do is any fighters that are willing to listen to me, I will definitely help them with their finances and help advise them on what to do with their money when they get it. That way, if things don't pan out for them, they have a nest egg and they have some intelligence. I did a little spat with someone, and they were like, you only have 6 knockouts. Is that a reflection of your power? And I said, I don't think it's a reflection of my power, because I don't think I would have, none of these guys are just walking through my punches. You get what I'm saying? That's a reflection of protecting my brain.
Mm-hmm.
To school and get these licenses to get in the ring and then get them beat out. So if I don't have any more knockouts in my career, I'm not mad at that, and I would hope to be able to express this to other fighters, because there are so many fighters who will listen to the crowd, they'll listen to the banter outside, and they'll go in there and they'll sacrifice themselves under that level, and people will scream and holler and hoop and holler. But then when their career is over and they don't have any money, or they can't talk properly, or something has happened to them physically, those same fans that were hooping and hollering and yelling are the same fans that say, oh, yo, look at this dude. He can't even talk now. You get what I'm saying? So what I would hope to mirror image and show other fighters is protect your brain, protect your finances, and protect your family. That would be that's the motto that me and my wife has when we talk to not just fighters but different people. Protect your family first off, because it's not just boxing, it's jobs and other careers. You could be making money one day and then not making money the next. And if you haven't put money in secure places, and if you have done things like set up a Roth and a Roth IRA account, if you haven't put away small investments, and the investments start small, you don't even have to be putting away $500-600 a month. It could be $25 a month just to build that rapport, build that portfolio, and you build that discipline. Then when you make more, you take it up to $50 a month. Then when you make more, you take it up to $150 a month. But you want to build that discipline first with something small, then brick by brick, So that would be the knowledge that I would think me and my wife were good fighters. But to put my family back in the boxing game, like in it, I wouldn't want to do that. That tears families apart. It's just like the music industry. How many times have we seen, the music industry and the boxing industry? You got brothers and sisters and cousins and family members who just don't talk to each other no more because of the business. And I wouldn't want that, because we have 4 beautiful kids. And what I would rather do is just advise to do with their finances, and to take the right fights and have some type of exit strategy. I think every fighter, when they first turn pro, the first day you step on the field as a professional should be the day that you start planning your retirement.
Well said.
Outstanding.
Yeah, outstanding.
Speaking of that, Will, do we still have some more time with you, or do you have to roll out?
I got some more time.
So you talked about the kind of the adverse effect that the business of boxing can have on personal relationships, specifically family. We heard this week that Tank Davis, I guess, confirmed his split from Mayweather Promotions. What is your take on that? Given what I don't know if you've got any kind of insight that has been reported, or if you're just going off of what you know from mainstream media. What is your take on that? The relationship between Tank Davis and Mayweather. It's been tumultuous at times. He's finally, I guess, split. What's your take on that?
I personally think it's limelight and egos. Tank is getting that. Tank is getting that limelight, and he's becoming somewhat of a pay-per-view star now. He's knocking guys out left and right, and he has a big fan base, so it could be, the egos. We don't know what's going on inside someone else's mind, and when you've been, as big as Floyd Mayweather has been, as long as he's been that big, it could be a little bit of an ego battle when you see someone else younger come up, and Floyd had to deal with that when he came up with other fighters before him. But because he had to deal with that, I would hope that he would say, I'm not going to put my fighter in that position, because I know what it was like when I was coming up and the older guys hated on me. I'm not saying that he's hating on them, but it looks to be like when you hear the tweets going back and forth and things that are being said between, Leonard LW and Tank, and, Floyd chimes in sometimes, and you see the relationship, like even when they're on camera together, and obviously with Floyd being his promoter, you can tell that they, that there's been some type of obvious personal split there. So I really don't know anything as far as like what goes on in their gym or what goes on in their relationship, but it does seem to be a bit of an ego and an ego and limelight and notoriety thing. And man, I just think Floyd has done. I mean, Floyd has done what most fighters, what a lot of fighters haven't done. He's made the most money. He's done it and been undefeated. He's been a phenomenal businessman. I think he should just go ahead and let the kid do it. And everybody grows. You know, people grow and they change. You know, and Tank may want to go ahead and be his own man right now. The same way when Floyd, there was a time when Floyd Mayweather was up under Bob Arum. You know, and he had Jay Prince as a manager. And once he got from under them and got with Al Heyman, he became his own man. Tank may be in that era right now where he's like, yo, I want to be my own man. You can't hold him back. You know what I mean? You knew what it was like when you wanted to make more money and you wanted to be your own man. So you should, what's the word? I'm looking for the word. You should
respect that. Yeah, respect his decision.
And like have an understanding. Like, I know what this was like when I was 24, 25 and things weren't happening. I had to get to that level. He should empathize with that is what I was looking for. Like, all right, young gun, you know, I've done what I've had to do. We've made our money. If you want to go ahead and do what you got to do, I'm not going to hold you, because guess what? They tried to hold Floyd and he got out of it. He knows what that feels like. So I don't know that that's the case, but I'm saying if it is, you know, let that young man do what he do.
Does this help or hurt Tank? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. Hey, well, so, yeah, man, look, man, I appreciate Tank and all them jokers, man, but really, man, I want to let you know, man, I'm on my knees, man, as you go to this stuff outside the boxing, but really even hearing you say, you know, what you want to do in boxing. So I guess I heard you mention how, man, if somebody knew Al Heyman that could get that thing going with CHARLO, then you would jump dead on it. Man, I really would like to know what would be, if you can name 3 people, man, that as you finish out your career, you know what I'm saying, or as you stay in this game, you know, you was crystal clear with like, hey, look, man, retirement is not, you know, in my vocabulary. So if you had 3 people, man, that you would really want to, you know, possibly link up with, man, you know, what would that be? Because that's what I'm going to be on my knees about to see it happen, man. Because I love to see you being slick in the ring, bro.
Definitely. Oh, you talking about fighting?
Yeah. Who do you want, man?
Or definitely CHARLO.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Let's see. CHARLO. This after CHARLO, it would have to be after CHARLO. I would want to beat CHARLO, and I would want Demetrius to beat somebody, and then I would fight Demetrius, but not on a personal I want to fight you thing. Me and Demetrius are really good friends, and we were signed to the same promoter, and they tried to get us to fight one time for like some ridiculous low amount of money. Like,
you talking about Banner Promotion, those guys, Artie Palulo and them dudes. Oh my God. Yeah, don't even care. Go ahead. Sorry. I don't even want to. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. But me and Boo Boo both said, we were both in camp together. We were helping each other. And we was like, yo, if the money's right, I'll see you in 8 weeks. But we also had history because we were in the amateurs together, and I fought his big brother.
Right.
And I never fought Boo Boo, but I beat his big brother. So you bring in the history of that into it. It could be you could bring that story into, and it could be something big for both of us. But it would be more or less like the only way I would get in the ring with Boo Boo is if we both had belts and we were both at the position to where it was like, all right, like a tournament, like this tournament. Now we have, you bring that history in, and I just think it's a super skilled fight between 2 southpaws who are very slick, very intelligent in the ring. I think it'd be like the Hurricane Carter and Georgie Benton fight. Yeah, 2 very high skilled fighters fighting each other. But the only reason why I would do that would be because no one would, I couldn't seem to get a fight, and Boo Boo couldn't seem to get a fight. So if a tournament was ran, I would entertain that on the fact of, all right, bro, let's go make some money real quick. And we got some history from the amateurs that can like really backdoor that and make it a great storyline. But at heart, do I say, yo, I want to fight Boo Boo? That's who I want to fight. Nah, because he's almost like a brother to me. Like, I know his dad, he knows my family, we're cool with each other. But it's almost like when Roy Jones said, when I come up to heavyweight, I'll fight Vander Holyfield. Like, they were really good friends, but I would fight Vander Holyfield for boxing. I would do it for boxing, not necessarily because this is a man I want to get my hands on, but I would rip for boxing. So and the Ukraine, not Ukrainian, the
Kazakh guy.
Yeah,
Kazakh.
Kazakhstan. Yeah.
So it would be CHARLO, Kazakh, and then when I get past them two, then me and Boo Boo, just because I think both of us can go ahead and make some money.
Hey man, okay, well man, but look, that's on my knees, and you said there's several boxing precedents for stuff like that. Even Simon Brown and Maurice Blocker did that thing too, brother.
Right.
So yeah, so absolutely understood, man.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, I think those are some great matches. For me, I would because I think that you got a raw deal. I would love to see you get a rematch with Billy Joe Saunders on a neutral site.
Yeah.
And not fighting in his hometown, because we know how those decisions going.
Yeah.
When y'all are both another, two skilled southpaws in there, and I think that you'd be able to get that W.
Billy Joe's about 250 pounds now, man. I don't know if he's gonna take that.
I want you
that means he's right for the taking.
I would love to see you dust off Munguia.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
that's easy work.
Yeah.
You ain't getting nowhere near Mongia.
That's easy
man.
work.
Yeah. They went.
That would be my. I'll fight him before I fight CHARLO.
Yeah, that's easy work.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, yo. Yeah.
Well, he was Demetrius is mandatory for like 3 years, man. What do you make of that? Like, did they just not believe in this guy? I know Eric Morales is his trainer, and Eric Morales is probably a very no-nonsense guy. You're talking about one of the all-time great Mexican fighters. Is he just looking at Munguia in the gym and going to Oscar and being like, Oscar, if we put him in there with any of these guys, he is gonna get beat? What do you make of this Munguia situation? Almost 50 fights and not a single name to speak of.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening, and they're moving them slow. They're doing them the same way they did Canelo. Canelo turned pro at 15?
Yeah.
You can go and look at Canelo's boxing record where he fought the same guy like 3 different times. Just go.
But with Canelo, Will, we at least got guys like an old Shane Mosley,
right?
We got like who else did we get? We got some
Big brother, first, like that was his first introduction. He almost got slept though by that level.
But at least we got a name with Canelo early on. With Munguia, they won't put him in there. We got Gabe Rosado, who's got, God bless him, God bless Gabe. I respect Gabe as a fighter, but he's a guy that's with double-digit losses in boxing. Like, why won't they? You think they finally put him in there with Triple G? Now that Triple G is 40 years old, you think
he's called Triple G out? And I think that's the only reason why they're calling Triple G out, because they saw what happened with Canelo. And Triple G is 40 years old. And Triple G has been in some weathering fights. Not to mention that long amateur career. So Triple G is like, I don't want to say he's damaged goods, because with that power and being who he is, he could still slip a win in here and there. But I think that's the only reason why they're calling Triple G out, is because they feel like he's damaged goods, and they feel like they can beat him. But as far as like another skilled, a younger fighter with, they're definitely not looking at a Boo Boo or a CHARLO or, not even me. I don't even think they'll fight, because they want to. I think, like you said, they're probably looking at him in the gym and just like, yo, he get in there with a guy that got some skill, he's going to get figured out
and exposed. All right.
do we gotta go or we got still?
Yeah, I think he's been kind of kind with our time.
Okay, I appreciate it.
With that said, Willie Monroe, do you want to drop any of your like Instagram handles or Facebook or anything else you want to kind of promote before we let you go?
Oh yeah, everything is just at Willie Monroe Jr. I mean, my Twitter is just Willie Monroe Jr., but Willie Monroe Jr. everywhere.
All right, we appreciate it. A true veteran in the game, has fought some of the top fighters out there, has done his thing, and we're not going to get the news flash that we thought. We did not get the official announcement. This guy is ready and willing to fight.
That's the announcement we wanted. That's good.
Out, Munguia. This is great, and as you can see, he's in great shape, and so we look forward to seeing your next fight.
Thanks a lot, bro. I look forward to.
Bless you, brother.
Bless you. Thank you guys for having me.
God bless.
No doubt.
On too, Will, man. Thank you.
For sure.
Peace out, bro.
Peace.
All right. So with that said, we're gonna take a little breath. So that was a very engaging and revealing interview with the brother Willie Monroe Jr. And I thought he really gave us some great insight, man. Not only in his boxing career itself, but also just about the politics of boxing and how things are kind of made. And so we're gonna keep it rolling with the pundits, and so we're gonna go a little bit above the middleweight division and talk about the light heavyweights. 175. And so recently we had Anthony Yarde. He was destructive in his fight this weekend, which was essentially just a filler fight, which can be dangerous. That he had this past weekend. He stopped his opponent, Koikov, in the third round, which I thought he really looked impressive in that fight to me. I thought he showed some wrinkles that I hadn't really seen before, and he actually made me look forward to this fight against Beterbiev, where I thought that I really, and you can go and look at the tape, I really didn't give him much of a chance. Boston Jarrett was somebody who was kind of been in Anthony Yard's corner. So can you tell me, just we'll start with you, Boston Jarrett. Just talk a little bit about, do you think that this win this weekend, I mean, did it show us anything, or was it just
absolutely not? Absolutely not. This was a guy who had no business being in there with Anthony Yard. The fight with Beterbiev was scheduled to take place this weekend. The reason it didn't take place was because Beterbiev was injured. So no, this fight didn't show us a lot. But look, since the second Lyndon Arthur fight, I've been telling people Tunde Ajayi is no longer the lead trainer for Anthony Yard. He's got a guy, another Jamaican cat, whose name I cannot remember, but a former pro. Point is, he has a real boxing trainer now, a guy with real professional experience, and I believe some real training experience, not some glorified motivational speaker. And ever since he's made that change, you have begun to see improvements with this guy. You've begun to see IQ improvements, technical improvements. And so, yeah, when it comes to this Beterbiev fight, I think this is going to be a very, very, very tough fight for Beterbiev. He is not going to be able to sit there and walk through and push around a guy like Anthony Yard, who could probably fight at cruiserweight if he wanted to. Anthony is a very, very big 175-pounder. He's athletic. He can be awkward defensively if he wants to. And, quiet as kept. Beterbiev is a guy who people accused of being chinny at times. He's been put down a couple times. Not that makes him chinny, but it's something you've heard out there in the ether. I think Yard's athleticism, his defensive abilities, his ability to bend at the waist, his power, his size are going to cause Arthur Beterbiev a lot of problems. And quietly, Arthur is creeping up on 40 years old. He may not look like it in the ring. He may not look like it physically, but he's one of these guys from that Eastern European amateur program. He's got a lot of amateur fights under his belt. He's a guy that didn't turn pro until his early 30s, and guys can get old overnight. So this is a fight I'm definitely going to watch. But when you hear the talking heads out on YouTube say that Beterbiev's going to steamroll Yard, don't believe it, because that ain't going to happen. I ain't going to say Anthony is going to win, but it's going to be a tough fight.
So I think the trend. Are you referring to James Cook? Is that who you're referring to?
James Cook. Thank you. Yes, James Cook is the lead trainer now, and Tunde Ajayi is the lead chest rubber, I believe, and spit bucket holder now, which is what he needs to be.
Yeah. If y'all haven't seen it, I would advise y'all to go and watch this knockout. Anthony Yard, actually lifted his opponent off the ground with a kind of a prototypical Tyson combo, a right to the body that he was sneaking under the elbow the whole fight, and then he went right into a right to the body, right to an uppercut. Absolutely lifted his guy off, off of his feet with that. And I just like the way that he broke down his opponent in there. So with that said, the casual one, do you think that what how do you like Anthony's chances against Arthur Beterbiev
I mean,
coming up in the spring?
I guess what Jared was saying is he's improving every fight. I mean, that last fight shows that he's a big guy and he's a big, strong guy. But to me, it still shows that he's just a brawler. He is not a boxer. I mean, he was hitting, but he was power shots. But he's just coming forward. He came forward just throwing power shots. He didn't lead up anything. He just whatever he thought about throwing, he threw and he landed. I mean, so I think with Beterbiev, if is a more experienced and skilled fighter, you're gonna have to box him to beat him. You're not just gonna walk throwing power shots and think you're gonna just gonna brawl down Beterbiev. You know what I'm saying? That's not gonna happen. And so hopefully this time, this delay with the new trainer, it'll show him how to use the jab to so he can throw that brick hand. But he was just walking down throwing straight power that whole fight.
He was trying to get that guy up out of that guy. He didn't belong in the ring with him, and he was trying to make it an early night. And what he did.
Yeah, but he did. But I thought he showed some nuances. Man. I liked his body work. You know that he was throwing. I mean, right and left hands to the body that can really. So it wasn't just like he was just going for the kind of glamorous knockout. The guy obviously didn't pose much of a danger to him. But Coach Dave, so as a coach so this fight is a quick turnaround. So the fight is scheduled for January the 28th. What advice would you give to Anthony Yarde as he goes against this behemoth Artur Beterbiev?
Hey, look, man. So this is gonna be, I'm trying to think if I've ever said this before. Like hands down, no joke. I'm seriously trying to think as I was thinking about the fight, and then that Yard just had, and then now, I would honestly tell these guys the same thing, and I'm like at no exaggeration. Out of these two, right, whichever one throws the straightest punches is gonna stop the other guy possibly. Whoever out of these two behemoths of a men, strong jokers, whichever one throws the straighter punches, possibly literally might stop the other. I tend to lean a little bit more with what Randy said. I just think Beterbiev is, a little bit more polished. But you can't take away from what Jared said either about y'all was just trying to get this guy out. So under new management, what's really there? Think about even when Ryan Garcia first came back, that first fight he came back, he was just kind of trying to find himself. So what if this guy gets a little polished up? So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting and good fight. Mm-hmm. I can't really say it's going to be as tough as Jared said. Honestly, dude, this is one where I seriously believe whoever throws the straighter punch, and I'm talking about literally that stick and that brick behind it.
Yeah. Why the straight punches, Dave?
Huh?
Why are you saying that about the straight punches?
Both these guys are wide, bro. I don't think anything. I think both of these guys punch wide. I hope it's not just a nasty slap fest of just wide, bulky, just a slap fest. So I say the straight punches because I think it's gonna come down to about anybody can get hit with a wide shot or whatever. But I think if it's a knockout that is definitely on that chin, man, I look for something coming straight down the pipe. I think Bivol will light both these guys up.
You like Bivol against both of them. That's interesting. Okay.
That was gonna be my next question. Which one out of those two gonna get Bivol?
Straight punches, man. I'm telling you this, and it's gonna be a good fight. So honestly, man, I like literally what both the casual one and Boston said. I'm in agreement with both of them. My only take is that the linchpin between what those two said, but who gonna box and throw them straight punches?
I think Beterbiev has gotten the best of all those guys in the amateurs. I believe him, Kovalev, Bivol were all amateur peers around the same time, and I believe Beterbiev has beaten both Kovalev and Bivol in the amateurs, and I believe he's beaten them both several times. Not that that makes a huge difference in the pros, but it's not like them guys forgot about it. So
I don't think it make no difference, man. You know what I'm
okay,
saying?
fair enough.
Here's the question. Here's the question, and this is what's going to line up. And somebody's going to have to answer. So this yard fight is in where you say January
In the 02. In the 02.
And so the winner of that's going to be projected to fight Bivol.
I don't think so. I think
and Canelo
there's a rematch.
Fight Bivol in the fall. So what does Bivol does? Does he fight for unification, or does he do a rematch with Canelo?
He hasn't shown much interest in the Canelo fight, to be honest. Which is surprising. But it's
he's being pushed away from that.
Surprising. He's being pushed. I think that's his own kind of.
Well, fair enough. I'm just telling you what I've been being told is that's not a fight that they want to make.
What, Canelo Bivol?
Canelo Bivol is not a fight that the Matchroom DAZN people want to make.
The boxing, the powers that be want Bivol to be unified.
They want to get rid of Bivol. Bivol don't sell no tickets.
You got to do one or the other, though. I mean, you can't just sweep him aside. He's going to be in position to fight either Canelo or he fight unification.
DAZN wants ticket sellers. They want people to generate subscribers. And Bivol don't generate no subscribers. He don't move
3,000-pound gorilla sitting in that room.
What's the 3,000-pound gorilla?
Bivol. He either can fight for unification or fight Canelo.
I mean, Devin Haney was in the same position, and they didn't fight to keep Devin Haney. They just let Devin Haney walk. And Devin Haney is probably a more popular fighter than Bivol. I'm telling you, they don't want this guy around no more. They don't want this guy around. He don't do nothing for the company. As a boxing fan,
well, he doesn't do anything but.
You said what?
Well, he doesn't do anything but win and stay out of trouble.
Well, unfortunately, Cam, look, you know as well as I do, man. You know that's you know how that go, man. That don't move the needle in boxing. You know, that's not how the shit works.
But isn't he going to be the fighter? A lot of people are saying he's going to be voted fighter of the year, and if he goes and unifies, at some point you have to kind of acknowledge the dude.
Flowers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As objective boxing fans, of course you have to acknowledge this guy. This guy's a tremendous fighter. But you're asking me about what fights are going to get made, and I'm telling you why I think certain fights will or won't get made, and like the politics play into it. There's no avoiding it.
Hey, speaking of the politics, did you hear anything about the WBA making the Morrell Canelo fight mandatory?
Are we switching because we need this for timestamp? We're going to switch subjects.
I was just saying because it's all like with the.
Well, that's 168. We're talking 175.
Yeah, but with the Bivol coming up at 168, that's his plan to do a.
Bivol's 175.
I mean, yeah, 175, but Canelo wants to do a tune-up and then fight Bivol in the fall. Correct?
Well, if correct. It's a tune-up, it's not going to be Morrell.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. I'm like, what?
Oh, you're right. Okay, I see what you're saying. So yes, the WBA looks like they're gonna enforce the mandatory that Morrell is gonna be the mandatory, and Canelo is gonna fucking throw that belt out his back window. Is gonna throw it in his trash compactor.
Yeah,
he ain't fighting no David fucking Morrell, dude.
He ain't gonna fight Benavidez either, so he gonna
probably not. He gonna fight the winner of Zach Parker, John Ryder, and I'm telling you, he's gonna try and angle for an Edgar Berlanga fight over there on ESPN.
That's disgusting.
Is what I think over there at 168. So,
all right,
yeah, maybe we do. Better BF goes in there and stops Yard. Maybe we get better Bivol late in the summer, or early fall. We'll see. We will see.
All right, so let's turn our attention to some of the fights that are happening this weekend. So we got one or two belts on the line for the 140 with Prograis versus Zepeda.
This is one belt. This is a vacant. This is
Yeah,
the fighting.
vacant.
They're fighting for Josh Taylor's vacated WBC belt. And
Well,
they tried to
I
screw
know they
Regis
took two
Prograis,
of his belts away, but yeah, okay. So it's
but this is only a WBC. Remember, they tried to make the Jose Ramirez fight, and I'm
yep,
sure
that's
somebody
right.
threatened to sue the WBC, which they should have. And Ramirez pulled out with family commit some bullshit. So yeah, one belt. So the WBC belt.
All right. So this fight is between the 27-1 Regis Prograis, and he is fighting Jose Zepeda, who is 35-2. I think that this is going to be a good showcase for Prograis. A lot of people don't know about Prograis, and how good of a fighter that he is. I don't think he's really had opportunity. He only has one loss, and it was a majority decision to Josh Taylor. And with Zepeda, he is somebody who, anytime that he's been kind of asked to like step up to that next level, he seems to fall just short in there. So his losses are to Jose Carlos Ramirez and to back in the day, he was retired in the second round by Terry Flanagan, but this was from an injury. But any thoughts? So let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and give our pundit picks on this, but I'll start with Coach Dave. What are your thoughts on this 140? Because if you think about this fight right here, this is going to kind of set the table for all those other fighters who are going to be making their way up to 140 pounds. So when you talk about Canelo Alvarez and at some point Tank Davis, another point, so the ones who are able to hold the belts in there, they're going to be able to hold some leverage when it comes to negotiating, with these fighters. And then you also got to think about Ryan Garcia, who's eventually going to be at 140 pounds.
So I don't know a lot about Zapata, however you pronounce his name, man. And to be honest with you, man, I literally think I may have seen two of this guy's fights, man. Honestly, I may have seen just two, just for the sake of openness here, man. But I just think maybe Prograis' determination I think it's going to be by decision. I think I would go Prograis by decision. I just think there's times, man, where this guy is just flat determined and he likes to fight.
Sometimes too much. You're right. I think so.
No, he just, and I'm just, and again, man. So let me be crystal clear, man. Honestly, I think it was literally two fights that I've seen, maybe. But Prograis, the boy just likes to fight, man, and and like somebody just said, a little bit too much. I just think that mindset and him knowing what this could mean, the stamp that it could make, even on those considering, and what it can set him up for. I just think this guy probably sees this as not just, hey, quote, another fight, blah, 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 but I think he has the boxing acumen to see what it could possibly mean for him. So I just think we're going to see a lot out of Prograis in this fight, man. If that makes any sense. And again, I wish I could give more of an analysis based off of the two fighters, but I just had to humbly say, I only seen this cat fight twice. It wasn't really looking at him to analyze him, but I think Prograis, I think it's going to be by decision.
Yeah. So just to get the odds, so Prograis is the -375 favorite, and Zepeda is a +275 underdog, meaning that $100 bet will get you back $275 for Zepeda, and you would need to bet $375 on Prograis to get back $100. Let's go with you, Boston Jerry. What's your pundit pick for this fight?
I'm going with Prograis by spectacular knockout. The Prograis is one of the best kept secrets in boxing. Now, you guys know I've been a huge Prograis fan. And Regis he's gonna have too much. He's gonna have too much for Zepeda, and it's gonna be apparent very, very early in the fight that Zepeda is overmatched. I think Zepeda goes out on a shield, but he goes out. He goes out. And
Wow.
and Regis, Regis is gonna stop. I'm gonna go in 8 rounds, 7 to 8 rounds. I think he knocked out Terry Flanagan in what, the 7th or the 8th? Yeah, I'm going in 7 or 8 rounds. Prograis just got too much. He's tailor made for that weight too. He's the perfect size. He's got the perfect dimensions for that weight class, and he's just got too much ability. Too much ability.
He stopped his last 3 opponents to Juan Heraldez, Yvonne Redcatch, and Tyrone McKenna.
Yeah, Radcash tried to act like he got hit low or whatever and tried to get him disqualified. I don't know if you remember that. That was on Triller, I believe. The Radcash fight.
No, but he brings it
what
like.
saying, man?
I think he went out, Coach.
Yeah. Hey, so I'm gonna jump in right here.
Yeah, go ahead, Captain.
Oh no, I'm just saying.
Go ahead, Randy.
My take is I think this is Prograis' coming out party. I know he a Wally vet. He's been out there, but I think this is his coming out party. He win this, he is set to have possibly two additional high profile fights. Teofimo fighting Sandor Martin, and the winner of that, I think, is already mandated to fight Prograis. I think they're already negotiating that's going to be a mandatory, the winner of that one. So that's like we've always been talking about, like eliminators. I think WBC is trying to do it. I don't know the politics behind it that doesn't make it happen, but at least from the convention that they had a couple of weeks ago, these were laid out. Like Prograis fights Cepeda for the belt. And then their first mandatory would be against the Teofimo, but then now he's fighting Sandor Martin, who is number 5. So that's going to be a great fight. And then so the winner of that fights Prograis. If it's Prograis against Teofimo Lopez, tell me they ain't no high profile fight.
Oh yeah, that's
and then after that, like you said, Garcia coming up to 140.
Yeah. Well, Garcia getting ready to fight it, maybe fighting Tank at this catchway here. So I think Garcia.
But I'm saying eventually, we talking like 2 fights, 2 to 3 fights down the line.
Okay, right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he can, if he do it right and spectacular, he can start to be the face of the 140 division.
He can. Unfortunately for Regis, he's kind of, like Will Monroe talked about it. He's one of those free agents, and nobody bid on this fight. I'm not even sure what network this fight is going to be on here. Let's check here, because it ain't on ESPN. I believe that Cepeda is in fact a top-ranked fighter. This fight's going to be on Fight TV.
Wow.
Right. So I wish that it could be a coming out party, man, but unfortunately, I don't think that Fight TV is going to provide the platform.
I think somebody will pick him up after this fight. Once he has the belt, somebody will pick him up.
Yeah, I don't know that Regis wants to be signed.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of by choice. But the casual ones, you got him by decision, or
I say 10.
Knockout in 10.
You kind of took my pick. I would say so. So you say the 10th. I'll go with 11th round. I think that Cepeda is a good fighter. I think that he's just under the level of a Prograis, and when Prograis is in there, he likes to go for the knockout, and then he's gonna make you fight 3 minutes of every round. And if you're not willing to do that, then he's going to take you out. So I'm going to go with the late round stoppage, 11th round stoppage with Prograis. And I like to see him go on to better things. I definitely see him after this fight fighting a Teofimo Lopez. And this will be a good barometer to see exactly where Teofimo is at this point. So with that said, let's go ahead and end with a little bit of speculation. So Well, it's not too much, but we're talking about the Javante Tank Davis, who is, I guess, I don't know if he's a free agent or is going to be a free agent or what's going on at this point, but he is going to be fighting Ryan Garcia, who is not a free agent. He is a Golden Boy fighter, but they have agreed on, I believe the date is April the 15th, the fight with Tank. I believe both of them are going to take kind of interim fights leading up to it.
Yeah, you don't think we should talk about the interim fights? I mean, we know for a fact he's going to be in DC the first weekend of December.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can talk about that. So, but I think you were right. You said a couple of shows ago that you thought that his opponent would be Hector Ramirez,
Hector Luis Garcia.
Oh, Garcia.
Yeah.
So is that confirmed?
Yeah. No, that's the fight. Hector Luis Garcia has been making the rounds, doing interviews, and that fight is confirmed for Washington, D.C. It's looking like Jaron Ennis might be on the undercard. Now, if that's the case, I may have to.
Last week, Jared was like, "Can't be saying that." But go ahead.
Yeah. What? No, I thought you said something about him fighting Rashidi Ellis or something like that.
No, it was, and so they offered Rashidi the contract. Rashidi turned it down
to fight Ennis.
Yeah, they did because Rashidi Ellis has fought one round in like.
Yeah, he ain't ready yet.
Yeah, and they also didn't offer. I texted some people, and they ain't like the money they was offered for that fight either. But at any rate, the Hector Luis Garcia fight, and I have been critical of Tank on this platform, and let me be very, very clear about this. This is not no tune-up of a fight. This is not no easy fight. This is not. I don't care. Tank can call it a tune-up, and I respect Tank for making this fight. Hector Luis Garcia went in there and beat Earth, Wind, and Fire out of Chris Colbert. Yep. Albeit at 130. I believe they're bringing Hector Luis Garcia up to 135 for this fight. But anybody who watched that Colbert fight could tell you Hector Luis Garcia is a big 130-pounder. And I bet you sitting in there with Tank and able to rehydrate and eat a little bit more and put on a little bit of weight, he might even be a little bit bigger than Tank in this fight. This is a Dominican fighter who I believe fought for the Dominican national team. I believe might have even been a silver medalist. I got to go confirm all that. This is a guy with a lot of amateur pedigree. He's a tough fighter. This is not going to be an easy fight for Tank. I think stylistically, it may work out for Tank. I don't think that Hector Luis Garcia is going to be boxing Tank. I don't think Tank is going to have to go looking for Hector Luis Garcia. I think he's going to step right to Tank, and that uppercut of Tank and the lead left hand is going to be there. But this is a tough fight. And if the split with Mayweather is true, and he leaves Mayweather and takes this fight and then fights Ryan Garcia, I think this is the beginning of the rest of Tank's career. Those are two good fights. Very, very, very good fights. I think the Garcia fight might be a little bit more competitive than the Ryan Garcia fight. Maybe. We'll see. But these are good fights. These are really, really, really good fights.
Hey, so let me jump in because me and Jay have been going back and forth on my man Tank for the longest. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm hearing you correct, Tank lumped this dude up with no problem. Tank stops him. Tank stops this dude, right?
You asking or telling me?
No, I'm
just hypothetical.
I'm hypothetical, man. I'm saying where. So what I'm hearing is you're saying that this is Tank's toughest opposition or strength of opposition, however you normally phrase. You're saying this?
No. All I'm saying is it's a good fight, Dave. I didn't say toughest. I didn't use any superlative. I said that this is a good fight, and I said that people have been calling this a tune-up or whatever. I think even Tank himself called it a tune-up. This ain't no tune-up of a fight, not in my opinion.
All right.
I would agree with that. I mean, the guy's undefeated. I mean, he hasn't fought the competition that Tank has, but he did, take it to Chris Colbert.
Yeah, Chris Colbert had no business being in there with that guy. I think that was anyway. I don't want to go down that route. But yeah, Colbert had no business being in with that guy. If that had been Abner Mares or Leo Santa Cruz, I guarantee you Al would not have put Abner Mares or Leo Santa Cruz in there with this big ass Dominican with 200 amateur fights on 2 weeks' notice. Because remember, Colbert's opponent got injured like the week of the fight, and they called up Hector Luis Garcia with like 7-8 days notice. And Colbert took the fight.
But PBC does that because they did it with Tank when he fought Pitbull. Nobody knew who Pitbull was until after the fight. So I mean, they threw him in there.
But Pitbull don't have the same pedigree that this guy Luis Garcia got. Pitbull ain't some Olympian with hundreds of amateur fights, but it doesn't outweigh.
He won't no joke when he was up in there.
He did, but Tank had one hand though. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What you say, Dave?
Yeah, that's true. No, that's true. Tank did have one hand. Yeah.
This guy, he's 5'9", and Tank is, you have him listed as 5'5", so he's gonna have a considerable size and reach advantage to overcome during this fight.
How tall was it Santa Cruz though?
So Barrios was the real tall. Santa Cruz is about Tank's height. But Barrios,
I think Santa Cruz might be about 5'7", but I'll look. So Santa Cruz is 5'7.5", and then 5'7", 5'7.5". They got Tank at 5'5.5".
Barrios is what, 5'10", 5'11"?
Yeah, he's a good 5. Yeah, he's 5'10". But he fights. He doesn't fight tall. He fights out of a crouch.
Hector Luis Garcia don't fight tall neither. But I tell you what, a guy with all those them amateur fights, I bet you he know how to box. I bet you he know how to use his reach. And he's got a good trainer. He's got Bob Santos as his trainer. So that De Los Santos or Bob Santos, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's being talked about for trainer of the year right now. So yeah, good fight. Good fight. I don't know if it's a good idea to actually show up to this fight like y'all motherfuckers are talking about, but
we going. Gotta go, bro.
It's gonna be a fun fight to watch. How much did you click on that link, Dave? How much of them tickets they talk about?
I think most of the tickets left now might be about $300, man.
Yeah, the ones that we were around 350 or so.
Yeah, with no undercard yet? No undercard?
I'm definitely trying to go to that thing, bro. I'm trying to be in there.
Yo. We need to show this up.
If Ennis is on there, I may have to. Shit.
Hey,
anyway, sorry, I didn't want to derail.
To go back to Tank talking ish about Mayweather promotion. Didn't Jalen Love fight the other week and flip the dude out the ring?
That was Montana Love.
Montana Love.
Yeah, that was Montana. Yeah.
Wrong Love.
Yeah, wrong Love.
Yeah. Don't be trying to pile on to Mayweather.
Never mind.
But Tank no longer with Matt because you ain't apparent. I'm not on Twitter. I may have to get on Twitter so I can actually look at some of this stuff. But you ain't seeing nothing from old Leonard Ellerby and nothing from Floyd. Not one peep about any of this stuff. Nothing about the Garcia fight. Nothing about this upcoming fight.
He gave him props. He gave him props for getting it done.
Oh, Floyd did?
No, Ellerby. Floyd.
Ellerby did.
I don't think Floyd tweets.
Oh, he don't. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
I don't.
So I mean, what do they stand now? So is he fighting out his contract with Floyd? So this is his last fight.
I think it's done. No, I thought before it was his last contract. I think Tank may be signed to Showtime. And because the negotiation was between DAZN and Showtime. And Showtime didn't bow. They was like Showtime did not bow out, did not bend the knee. They got what they wanted, and they allowed DAZN to sell the pay-per-view on their platform, but they didn't get any concessions.
Which was the way it should have been, right there.
True, the way it should have been. That tells you the contract or the negotiation was between Showtime and DAZN, not PBC, not Mayweather,
Right.
anybody else. It was Showtime in the zone. And that's why if you the day after it got announced, you see Oscar De La Hoya looking salty, but he was like, man, I'm glad that they came to an agreement. Let's just hope the contract gets signed. Because it was like, yo, he didn't get anything out of it. It was just like the negotiation was between the two networks.
Yeah, that's all right. That's a huge platform for his fighter, though. The Ryan Garcia. Now, this Hector Luis Garcia Tank fight is going to be on pay-per-view, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty
all
much
his fights
all his fights are pretty much pay-per-view fights.
Yeah. That's all right. Not my problem.
But if it got boost as an undercard, that's well worth it.
It might be, especially if we get. I was told that Boots is gonna get this kid Butayev. If what I was told was accurate, there's gonna be Boots Butayev, who recently lost to Stanionis, if I'm not mistaken. But that's a decent fight because Butayev is a rough, rugged guy. So that might be an interesting fight. It might, a fight that might go at least 6-7 rounds, maybe. So, yeah.
Well, Tank is definitely going to have to do his thing because if not, we're going to miss out on their end. So just to kind of put this in there, there was a tweet that went out on November the 19th. And so this is why I was a little confused because it says, this is from Ray Jackson. Says Tank Davis has 2 fights lined up next year, and the boss, in quotation, Floyd, hasn't mentioned anything about it, with the 3 yikes emojis. And then Javante responded, because the love was gone when I knocked Rolly out. Crazy thing, I was over my mother's house the other night. She told me how Leonard was telling people how Rolly was going to knock me out, and my uncles that started me in boxing overheard him. He said, go and look at the fight and watch my mom. So I guess this is her kind of reaction to that. When he actually knocked out Rolly, I guess she was
animated.
Yeah, she was gesticulating towards Leonard Ellerby.
Yeah. Good. Right, so, I'm good. I'm happy. I'm happy for Tank, man. I'm happy for Tank, man. This is going to be good. It's going to be an exciting year. It's going to be an exciting year for Tank. And if he's able to get both of these jokers up out of there with minimal effort, we might even see a third fight with Tank. We might get 3 fights in this year. So, yeah.
Hey, they haven't announced the date yet. You know what I'm saying? They speculate in April, but man, dude, do you think
for what?
So what I'm hearing
for Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, the Ryan Garcia is supposed to be late April, early May. And what I've heard is PBC and Showtime has already locked in dates for May and September. So do you think that they can slide the Tank Garcia fight over a Canelo tune-up fight?
No,
man. I mean,
why would you do that?
We're just adding drama in. We've seen April. We've seen April announce. We haven't seen April.
No, it's not.
But I'm saying you haven't seen any kind of. You haven't why are we throwing out that date?
They saying that like I said, they announced. I mean, they saying they're hoping for like April or May. Ellerby, not Ellerby. Who's the head? Espinosa said that. Yeah, I know the date, but I'm not telling y'all.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't do that. I look, why make Mexican fans, who are the primary consumers of boxing, like it or not, they're the ones that spend the money, at least that's what we keep on hearing, right? Why put fans in that kind of position, right? Why not make just make the fight in April. Just make the fight in April. And then they can re-up their cash flow and spend that money again on Canelo, because despite what people will have you believe, Ryan Garcia is a Mexican, and Mexican fans are gonna tune in to watch him fight. So no, No, I don't see them trying to compete with Canelo for that date.
We'll see.
All right. And so with that said, I think we are at our time. So we are going to end a very lively show. We want to once again shout out to Willie Mongoose Monroe Jr., who I think gave a great interview. I was actually happy to hear that he is not retired, and I would actually like to see him back in the ring again. And I think that a fight against CHARLO, I don't think that's outside of the realm of possibilities. CHARLO hasn't been fighting much lately, and so we will see about that. Remember to like and subscribe. Make sure that you comment too. We appreciate the love and we appreciate the hate on there. It's all good for conversation, and we will try to get to respond to most of y'all. But
I will. I definitely will.
Yeah. Boston Jared definitely will.
To.
So this is my man. This is Professor Nim signing out for the Casual Ran.
Peace.
Coach Dave and Boston Jared.
Peace. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey.